regarding Russia. I would say if you're only studying one thing, study Russia, because it's the farthest, it's the thing that we did the longest time ago, and it has the most points on the test. So, the order of events starts with that review chart we did on the Mongols. So I would start with Mongols, Peter, Catherine, and so on. It goes all the way up through Stalin, or it could. And some of them are very specific, where it gets really, where you're not going to be able to memorize the dates, but you have to know cause and effect, or like the end of the Russian Civil War, Lenin, Stalin. So you really need to know, you know.
Isn't like Lenin, Trotsky, and Stalin?
Trotsky was never in charge.
But didn't Stalin have to like fight him?
Yeah, Stalin had to fight
But technically he's there. Shut up, you damn stupid.
Then there are short
Hold on.
answer.
No problem.
And the short answers could be from India, China, or Ireland, but they're similarly themed. You know, which side would businessmen take in the Russian or Chinese Civil War? Which side would peasants take in the Russian or Chinese Civil War? So in other words, you have to know who were the sides in each Civil War, who they got their support from, why they got their support that way. So you definitely need to know your differences between Mao and Chiang Kai-shek, Lenin and the Reds versus the Whites, that kind of thing. And then they could have some pretty in-depth questions about India, the breakup of India and Pakistan. So I would know religious differences, etc., etc. So here's, for the short answer, is definitely India, Pakistan, Mao, Chiang Kai-shek, Lenin, Trotsky, Stalin, Russian Civil War questions. Then there are primary sources, of which there are 4 possibilities, plus a short answer. They're all Russian. So again, this is another thing where really look at the Russian stuff. There's that document that was like Sire, like the Bloody Sunday letter that they brought to the Tsar, or tried to bring to the Tsar. There was 2 speeches by Lenin when he was returned to Russia as he was in the process of regaining the country. Those were pretty detailed. He was talking in like communist terms, so you have to understand those. There was Darkness at Noon, the excerpt of that book, even though that's not technically a primary source, about Stalin's rule, so I'd definitely study that. And then there could be one just short answer, like, not short answer, but sort of short essay, like, you know, describe, there were actually two revolutions in Russia in 1917, so who overthrew who, why did this overthrow happen? So obviously, if you're only studying one thing, it should be Russia. If it's only one thing, it's 1917. That's probably not enough to get you through the test, but that's where you really, really, really want to concentrate, is Russia in 1917. This is the only day of your history career that you have to know not just Nicholas and Lenin, but like Kerensky and provisional government and the terms in between, sort of the complicated part. Okay, where Ireland will come from will be modified true-false. That probably won't make you too happy. So I'd say each class will have 2 to 3 modified true-falses. So I'd really make sure you know Bloody Sunday, what happened, who was protesting, who was killed, what was the result, your Good Friday Agreement, has it worked, has it not worked, why is it working, why is it not working, who bombed who in Oman, you know, who's been against the Good Friday Agreement, who's been in favor of it. Am I missing anything?
About the World Cup.
Nothing about the World Cup. That was just 4 minutes on YouTube. You know, just definite, a lot of detail on Ireland, and I'd say that there could be some, you know, Easter uprising, just general, you know, so there won't be a lot of Irish stuff, but it will be pretty detailed.
Review questions?
What's that?
Review questions?
Okay, the multiple choice Tuesday, there's only going to be one review question, because you guys had a really good test on World War I. The class average in the multiple choice was 85, and only one question went amok, and that was the Ottoman Empire question. So you might want to review your Ottoman Empire a little bit, and then it's all new. So, what new stuff might there be?
Is that the test?
No. Maybe. Okay, so.
What's that?
1080 freaking feet.
Wait, guys, he leaves his desk unlocked and everything's measured off.
See the number 1917.
Yes. There's obviously a lot of 1917. I'd say the first 5 or 6, there's only 20 multiple choice questions.
We're gonna pick my
There's really
desk.
only 19. And again, majority are Russia. Yes, there are specific questions on 1917 in all sections of the test. Study 1917. Other than it's just
What's
variations.
1917?
Wait, multiplication is on Tuesday?
Lord, have a question.
Yes.
Is it really?
Multiple choice.
Okay.
Wait, what's 1917?
I don't know, I don't think we studied.
No, like,
So,
what
similarities between other motifs, similarities between Stalin and Lenin,
That's not
differences
1917.
between Stalin and Lenin. There could be really specific questions about like the 5-year plan and so on.
Seriously, what happened?
Should have taught it.
I was probably sleeping. Can you just tell me?
Then there could be
Oh, okay.
questions like
Thank you.
answer 1 if it applies to Kerensky, 2 Lenin, 3 Nicholas II, 4 Trotsky, like those kind of things where you really got to know. You really got to know your stuff. So it's going to be, it's going to be no fun.
Can you say that again?
Yes, Kerensky. I mean, these are not names. Lenin, Stalin, Nicholas II. I think you would know with just a basic knowledge of history. But also in there would be Trotsky, Kerensky, and there might be like 5 or 6 statements. It's like answer 1 if it's whatever the first one in the alphabetical order. Kerensky, 2 if it's Lenin, 3 if it's Trotsky,
Exactly,
4,
you're gonna
3 if
put
it's
them in alphabetical
Stalin, 4 if it's Trotsky, 5 if it's Nicholas II, et cetera, et cetera. So, lots and lots of details of that. There are some India and China questions as well. I don't think those are that hard, but again, it's the usual topics we did in class. India during World War I, India as Gandhi started to gain influence, the basic conflict in India regarding the whole, non-violence thing, how it gained, General Dyer might make an appearance, the Salt March might make an appearance, and so on. And then for the China stuff, nothing new. Oh, open door policy, that was actually technically the previous unit, so that might make another appearance. May 4th movement, Long March. I don't think those are as hard though. Also, given we had direct testimony from people's grandparents on India and China, the class seemed to sort of get the gist of it, whereas we had nobody Russian and very few people Irish to sort of, that seemed to cause a few more
I'm Russian, you didn't ask me.
difficulties. Yes, but your great-grandparents weren't Stalinists or something like that. They weren't fighting in the Russian Civil War. Yes?
Wait, what was the order that the Russian leaders went?
Anyone know who was the Russian leader in 1900?
Oh, goddamn. Nicholas II?
Who succeeded Nicholas II for only 6 months or so? Who succeeded Kerensky for 7 years or so? Who succeeded Lenin for 29 amazing years?
Stalin.
Good. And who got a nice pick through his brain because he tried to be the guy to succeed? Lenin? Trotsky. Yes?
So, Russia became the USSR when Lenin took over?
Yeah, when Lenin took over and made it a communist country, yes. It became a union of Soviet socialist republics.
Right, and then when Stalin was done, whatever, I don't know how it ended, but,
We haven't gotten there yet, that's why I don't know,
Yeah.
yes.
so then did it stop being the USSR? And then-
No, it stayed the USSR until 1991, December 25th.
What time?
I think it was midnight, but I remember it because it was just before the Celtics Bulls game. It was delayed like 20 minutes, so President Bush, the senior, came on the air and told us that the Soviet Union was no longer the Soviet Union, they were back to being Russia, and they were no longer trying to blow us up. So we all watched the game. Yes?
For the parts on Monday, it's order of events, short answers, primary sources, modified true and false, and what?
Say that again.
For the 5 parts, there's order of events, short answer, primary sources, true and false, and what? That was it?
Short answer. Did you say that? Oh, I'm sorry.
You said there was 5 on Monday. Oh, you were-
Yeah, and
Yeah, it's just those 4, sorry.
I'm not ready.
What's that?
Other questions? Yes?
If there's no like pre-1900 for Ireland, like Great Hunger and.
No, those would only appear, I mean, I think it's hard if you know nothing, but I mean, if you're gonna study hours and hours and hours, yes, take 5 minutes for each of those and review, you don't even have to look at your old notes, review the section I called background. So just 1 or 2 key things. India, you know, Sepoy Mutiny, Indian nationalism. China, Opium War, failed Boxer Rebellion. Ireland, Great Hunger. Russia, just Romanovs, Tsars, disasters. You know, just review those in your head. I don't think there'd be any exact questions on them, but like it's gonna be hard, for example, to answer a question about Gandhi if you're not aware that like they tried this before violently already and it hadn't worked out. So in that sense, if you're gonna if you're just gonna study like, you know, secretly during first period, then no, don't spend your 2 minutes on that. But if you're gonna sit down for a couple hours and study, I would definitely spend your first 2, 3, 5 minutes on that background. But I think I made it easy for you. I think every unit we did, every topic, I gave you 3 or 4 of the key bullet points you should have remembered from the last unit. Yes?
Wait, so there's only one blue question on the
That's it.
Wait, what?
That's it.
That was the one
What'd you
that
say?
asked- That was the one that asked if Ottoman Empire ceased to exist.
Yeah, like what was the state of the Ottoman Empire when World War I came around?
You got that right.
What was it?
I forgot. But you should definitely look it up.
You should give us back.
It
Yeah.
was like the
Maybe you
empire was
should
going like
teach
severely
class.
down
That's
and like they
genius
lost
idea.
support. Yeah, I got that.
Move
answer
away.
right
Any
for
nervous
once.
now?
Yeah,
Questions?
great.
You're good? Any other questions? What?
I'll just email you.
Okay, alright. I don't know what a weekend would be.